A teenage girl was humiliated, searched, and accused of drug trafficking simply because airport staff said she didn't belong in business class. They laughed when she gave her name. They laughed even harder when she called her father. What they didn't know was that her father was Carlo Pedasoli, the man the world knew as Bud Spencer. Before we dive in, don't forget to like and follow for more powerful stories that will stay with you. Now, let's begin. Stolen ticket, darling. Don't waste your breath lying. We spot trash like you in seconds, so get the hell out, little girl. The voice came lazy and sharp, dipped in mock sweetness and old contempt. Rosa stood behind the counter with her faded airport vest half-zipped and her name tag hanging crooked across her chest. She took one long look at the girl in front of her, simple hoodie, worn sneakers, backpack clutched close, and decided, within seconds, that she had already figured her out. Maria handed over her boarding pass and identification with steady hands. She had learned long ago that calm made cruel people uncomfortable. "It's mine," she said quietly. Rosa smirked as she took the card, but the smirk deepened when her eyes dropped to the name, Maria Pedasoli. She read aloud, tasting the surname like she was testing whether it belonged in the mouth of someone like this girl. Maria nodded. "Yes." Rosa flicked her eyes to the screen, then back to Maria. "And this business class ticket was purchased under Guardian authorization," she said. "Who's the Guardian?" Maria answered without hesitation. "Bud Spencer." Rosa blinked once. Then she laughed. Not a startled laugh, a mean one, a laugh meant to gather other people's attention. "Bud Spencer?" she repeated. "Now that is rich." A couple of people in line glanced over. Maria stayed still. Rosa held up the ID between two fingers. "Sweetheart, your name is Pedasoli. You just told me your guardian is Bud Spencer. Those are two different names." She leaned in, eyes bright with cheap triumph. "If you're going to lie, at least don't do it stupidly." Maria felt heat rise in her face, but her voice stayed level. "Bud Spencer was his stage name," she said. "His real name is Carlo Pedasoli." That only made Rosa laugh harder. "Oh, of course it is," she said. "And I suppose Elvis was your travel agent." Maria tightened her grip on the strap of her backpack. "I'm telling you the truth." Rosa tilted her head, pity curling at the edges of her smile. "No, honey, you're telling me a little story because you thought people would be too dumb to question you." She clicked her tongue and turned the ID over once more as if a second glance might reveal the real scam hiding under the sign. "Plastic. So let me guess," she went on. "You've got a rich dead guy's surname, a fake guardian, and a business class ticket you somehow expect us to believe belongs to you." "He is my dad," Maria said. "He booked it for me." Rosa's eyes narrowed. "He?" Maria held her ground. "Carlo Pedasoli, Bud Spencer." Rosa laughed again, louder this time. "Listen to her. She thinks using the old man's real name makes it sound more believable." Her voice dropped low, poisonous. "It actually makes it sound desperate." Maria swallowed. "I can show you the confirmation email." Rosa said. "Or maybe you can show me what else you've got in that bag." The smile never left her face as her hand moved below the desk. Maria didn't see the button being pressed. She only saw the change in Rosa's posture, the sudden performance of caution, the exaggerated inhale, the way she took half a step back as if the girl in front of her had become dangerous. "You know," Rosa said, loud enough for the line behind them to hear, "we've had mules come through looking a whole lot more innocent than this." Maria frowned. "What? Fraud, courier work, drug transport," Rosa said, ticking each accusation off with fake professionalism. "Kids get used for all kinds of things." Maria stared at her. "I'm not carrying drugs." "That's what they all say." Two security officers were already walking over. Maria saw them from the corner of her eye and felt something cold settle under her ribs. "This is a misunderstanding," she said quickly. I have my documents. I have the booking email. You can call him. Oh, I'm sure we can, Rosa replied. After we make sure you're not hiding something first. The taller officer stepped in on Maria's left. Miss, step away from the counter. The other one reached for her backpack. Maria pulled back on instinct. Please don't grab my... He took it. Anyway, you'll cooperate, the taller one said. Or, this gets worse. Phones were already coming out. Not many, just enough. The kind people raised when something ugly might become interesting if they didn't have to get involved. Maria looked around once, hoping for one decent face. She found none. Her backpack was dumped onto the inspection table. Not carefully, not even impatiently, just roughly, like her belongings had already been declared unworthy of care. Out came a folded Navy team jacket, a pair of goggles in a hard case, resistance bands, a small towel, snacks, a toiletry pouch, her training journal, and a bottle of recovery spray. What's this? One guard demanded, holding the spray up. Muscle recovery spray, Maria said, voice thin now. For soreness. I'm going to a youth training camp in Chicago. What kind of camp? Rosa asked from behind the counter, smiling like she already knew the answer would amuse her. Athletics, Maria said. Swimming and conditioning. Rosa snorted. Of course. The shorter guard unzipped the inner compartment and turned the whole bag upside down. The last items slid free more slowly than the rest. A wrapped chain, a small velvet pouch, a pair of undergarments Maria had packed in a hurry that morning. They fell onto the table, then one fluttered to the floor. Maria froze. Shame burned so fast it almost made her dizzy. She dropped down and snatched the fabric up before anyone else could bend for it. Behind her, someone coughed. Someone else looked away too late. The shorter guard didn't stop. He reached for the velvet pouch. Maria's head snapped up. Wait, please, that one is fragile. He ignored her. Open it carefully, she said, getting to her feet too quickly. Please, that was my father's. But he had already pulled the drawstrings loose and tipped the contents into his palm. An old silver watch slid out, heavy and worn smooth by time, with a chain looped around it like something meant to be held with care. For half a second, it sat in his hand. Then, his fingers shifted. The watch slipped. It hit the tile with a sharp metallic crack and spun once. Twice. Then came the smaller sound, the brittle splinter of glass under pressure. Maria stopped breathing. The watch came to rest near her shoe. The crystal was fractured across its face. One of the hands inside had jolted loose. For a second, the entire terminal seemed to pull back from her. She dropped to her knees and reached for it with trembling fingers. No, she whispered. No, no, no. The taller guard looked down. It's just a watch. Maria stared at him like he had spoken another language. It was my father's, she said. Her voice was so small that Rosa had to lean to hear it. Then Rosa smiled. That's odd, she said. I thought your guardian was Bud Spencer. Maria's hand tightened around the cracked watch. She said nothing. Rosa folded her arms. So which is it, sweetheart? Is your guardian some dead actor under a fake name, or is your father the one who owned the watch? Still, no answer. Maria could barely hear anything now except the roaring inside her own chest. Rosa took one slow step closer, enjoying the silence. Messy little lie, isn't it? She said. First, the fake ticket, then the fake guardian. Now the dead father. You'd think if you were going to invent a whole family, you'd keep the names straight. Something in Maria gave way. Not loudly. Not visibly. Just all at once. She stood. Her hand closed around the watch so tightly that the jagged edge of the cracked crystal cut into her palm. Stop talking, she said. Rosa blinked. The officers moved closer. You don't tell me what to do, Rosa said. Not while you're standing here with a fraudulent ticket and a bag full of stories. Maria took one step toward the table, toward the rest of her things. A guard caught her arm. She jerked free on instinct, twisting harder than he expected. His balance slipped, and he stumbled into the edge of the inspection cart. Another officer grabbed for her shoulder. Maria turned fast, not to attack, only to get away, but her elbow caught him in the ribs. That was all it took. "She's resisting!" someone shouted. Then everything became hands. One on her wrist, one on her shoulder, one forcing her backward. Her cracked watch nearly slipped from her fingers again. "Don't touch me," she yelled. "Let go of me. I didn't do anything." The taller guard pinned one arm behind her back. Another seized the other. 4 adults closing around one 17-year-old girl in an airport terminal. Her backpack lay open on the floor. Her clothes were scattered. The watch in her hand dug painfully into her skin. She kicked once in panic, not landing it cleanly, just enough to make them tighten their hold. And all around them, people watched. The curious, the frightened, the ashamed, the relieved. It wasn't them. The noise only stopped when a calm voice cut through it like a blade. "Enough." "It wasn't," shouted. That was what made it work. The officers froze first, then Rosa, then the line of onlookers. A man in a charcoal blazer was striding toward them with the clipped, efficient pace of someone who expected to be obeyed. His silver-streaked hair was brushed back. His badge marked him as terminal supervisor. Behind him came 2 younger security staff and one woman from operations already holding a tablet. "My name is Charles Johnson," he said. "What is going on here?" The guards began at once, one saying alert, one saying fraud, one saying she resisted, Rosa adding suspicion and instinct, and all the little lies people wrap themselves in when they realize things may have gone too far. Johnson raised one hand. Silence snapped into place. He looked at Maria. Her hoodie was half off one shoulder. One shoe was missing. Her face was pale, but her eyes were burning. There was blood on her palm. In it, the cracked watch. Johnson's gaze dropped to the inspection table, then to the floor around it. The scattered clothes, the team jacket, the towel, the open journal, the broken dignity of someone searched without mercy. His mouth tightened. "Let her go," he said. The hands loosened. Maria stumbled forward once, then caught herself. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. She only held the watch against her chest and tried to breathe. Johnson glanced at Rosa. "You accused her of what, exactly?" Rosa swallowed. "Possible fraud. Possible narcotics couriering. She claimed a celebrity guardian. Sir. But the names didn't match. She said, Bud Spencer. Her ID says Pedasoli. It was obvious something was off." Johnson looked back at Maria. "Miss Pedasoli?" Maria nodded. "Can you explain?" "I already did," she said. "Bud Spencer was his stage name. His real name is Carlo Pedasoli." Rosa gave an incredulous little laugh under her breath, and Johnson heard it. He turned toward her slowly. "Did you verify that before escalating?" Rosa hesitated. No, sir, but—" "Did you verify it?" he repeated. "No, sir." Johnson exhaled through his nose. Then he looked at Maria again. "Come with me." "We need to talk," Maria thought, for one brief, foolish second, that the worst might be over. It wasn't. Johnson led her to a service desk off to the side, away from the main line but still visible to everyone who wanted to pretend not to stare. He checked the booking. He checked the flag. He checked the payment record. And like too many men who confuse procedure with wisdom, he found just enough uncertainty to cling to the mistake instead of correcting it. "Until identity and payment authorization are fully re-verified," he said at last. "Your boarding privileges are suspended." Maria stared at him. "You're stopping me from boarding?" "Temporarily." "After all of that?" Her voice was flat now. too tired to climb toward anger. I have the confirmation email. I can call him. Johnson's expression remained controlled, but something in it had cooled. You may call whoever you wish from the public terminal, but until the purchaser appears in person or we receive verified confirmation through approved channels, you will not be permitted to board this flight. You still don't believe me. This isn't personal, he said. It's policy. Maria looked down at the cracked watch in her hand, then back at him. It became personal a long time ago. Johnson didn't answer. He only nodded to the two agents beside him. Escort her out of the boarding area. Maria didn't fight this time. That was the part that hurt the most. She walked between them past the stairs, past the phones, past the places where people had watched and decided silence was simpler. At the glass doors near baggage claim, she finally stopped. Her knees felt loose. The agents hovered beside her uncertainly, as if all the confidence of manhandling a teenager had vanished now that they were away from the crowd. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She looked down. Guardian, she answered on the second ring. Maria? The voice on the other end was deep, familiar, and instantly wrong for a world like this one. It belonged to kitchens, old stories, safe rooms, not terminal glass and strangers' hands. Sweetheart, why haven't you boarded yet? The flight's closing. What's going on? Talk to me. Dad, she said softly. She always called him that in private. Not Bud. Never Bud. The word cracked the moment it left her lips. Her throat tightened, vision blurring as the dam she'd held for hours finally gave way. Tears spilled hot and fast, silent at first, then breaking into small, choked sobs she tried to swallow. Baby? His tone changed completely, panic flickering under the deep calm he always wore like armor. Hey, why are you crying? Tell me right now. Are you hurt? Did someone touch you? Where are you standing? I'm pulling up the airport feed. They said my name didn't make sense, she whispered, voice trembling now, words fracturing. They laughed at me. They searched my bag. They broke the watch. Another sob escaped, louder this time, raw and unguarded. Then his voice came back, urgent, all calm gone. Hey, sweetheart. Slow down. Breathe. Tell me exactly where are you right now? Panic flickered beneath the deep rumble, the legendary calm cracking like old film. Did they hurt you? Baby? Talk to me. I'm here. I'm right here. She pressed the phone harder to her ear, shoulders shaking, tears dripping onto the cracked screen. They think I stole the ticket. They called security. Dad, I'm scared. A sharp inhale on his end. Stay right there. Don't move. I'm calling the airline now. Put me on speaker. If they come back, let them hear me. You're not alone, Principessa. She nodded even though he couldn't see, clutching the phone like a lifeline, tears still falling as his voice wrapped around her like the safest room she'd ever known. Where are you? He asked. Near baggage claim. Stay where you are. His voice did not rise. It settled, became something absolute. I'm coming. The line went dead. Maria sank down against the cold railing and drew her knees toward her chest. She tucked the cracked watch into both hands like something still alive. Travelers moved around her in soft, indifferent currents. Somewhere in the distance, a boarding call echoed through the terminal as if the world had not just tilted. 10 minutes later, people began turning their heads. Not all at once. One by one. A ripple passing through the air. Shoes striking tile. Slow, deliberate, impossibly heavy footsteps. Maria lifted her head. Carlo Pedasoli, Bud Spencer to the world, was walking toward her in a plain, dark coat, broad as a doorway. Older now, slower now, but somehow more immense for it. He did not arrive with guards or photographers or noise. He didn't need any of it. The room made space because something in him told it to. He stopped in front of Maria and looked down at her first. Only her. Let me see. She opened her hand. He saw the blood, the cracked watch. For a moment, his face changed, not dramatically, not theatrically. Just enough for anyone with a heart to know they had crossed a line they could never fully uncross. He offered his hand. She took it. He helped her stand. Then he turned. Who told her Carlo Pedisoli wasn't real? The question landed harder than a shout would have. Johnson was already approaching, face pale. Rosa half a step behind him, with all the arrogance gone from her posture. "Mr. Pedisoli," Johnson said carefully, "I'm very sorry for what happened here today." Carlo didn't answer at once. He took the watch from Maria's hand with astonishing gentleness and studied the cracked face. His thumb brushed once over the engraving on the back. He closed his hand around it. Only then did he look up. "You searched her because you thought her surname and my stage name did not match," he said. "Yes, sir," Johnson admitted. Carlo nodded once. "And when she told you the truth, you laughed." Johnson opened his mouth, but it was Rosa who broke first. "Sir, I..." Carlo looked at her, and the rest of her sentence died in her throat. There was nothing loud in his expression. No threat, no theatrics. Only disappointment so vast it felt worse than anger. "My name for the screen was Bud Spencer," he said. "My name for my family has always been Carlo Pedisoli. Strangers may remember one. She carries the other." Rosa stared at the floor. "I made an assumption," Johnson said. "A terrible one." Carlo's gaze did not soften. "No," he said quietly. "Several terrible ones." The younger guards nearby lowered their eyes. A few people were filming openly now. Carlo didn't care. "You did not see a girl with a valid ticket," he went on. "You saw a face that did not belong in the story you wanted to believe, so you invented a different story for her. Fraud, drugs, lies. And when truth stood in front of you with papers in her hand, you called it stupidity." Johnson swallowed. "You're right." Carlo lifted the cracked watch slightly. "And while you were being right, you broke this." Johnson looked at it. "I'm sorry." "That word is easy," Carlo said. "Repair is harder." No one spoke. The terminal seemed to shrink around his silence. Then, Carlo shifted his attention back to Maria. "Was this your father's?" She nodded. "Yes." "Then we will fix what we can," he said. He placed the watch carefully into the inside pocket of his coat, as if by doing so he could take part of the pain out of her hands. Then he turned back to Johnson. "Her ticket. Reinstated immediately," Johnson said, "and upgraded further if..." Carlo cut him off with the smallest shake of his head. She was not asking for a favor. She was asking to be treated like any other passenger. Johnson nodded. "Yes, of course." "Written apology," Carlo said. "Preserve the footage. Full incident report. And the woman who laughed at her will look her in the eyes when she apologizes." Rosa went white, but she stepped forward. That, perhaps, was the first decent thing she had done all day. She looked at Maria and failed twice before words came. "I was cruel to you," she said. "I mocked you. I didn't listen. I treated you like a liar because I thought I knew better than you. I was wrong." Her voice trembled. "I'm sorry." Maria looked at her for a long moment. "You laughed when I told the truth," she said. Rosa closed her eyes briefly. "Yes." Maria nodded once. "Not forgiveness. Not yet. Just acknowledgement." Johnson cleared his throat. "Your boarding has been restored. You'll be escorted through a private lane. No further screening." Carlo glanced at him. "Good. And," Johnson added, "if you wish to file a formal complaint, she will decide what she wishes to file." Carlo said. "Not now. Later. When she is no longer shaking It was only then that Johnson truly looked at Maria again and saw that Carlo was right. The tremor in her fingers, the tightness in her jaw, the exhaustion of someone who had been made to defend her own existence for too long. "Understood," he said. A staff member came with a replacement boarding pass. Another gathered Maria's belongings and repacked them properly. This time, no one touched anything carelessly. The goggles case was closed, the journal placed flat, the team jacket folded. Her privacy, so casually torn open before, was now handled with a reverence born too late. As they began walking toward the secured lane, Carlo rested one hand lightly between Maria's shoulders, not to guide her, just to remind her she was no longer moving through that place alone. Inside the quieter corridor, away from most of the eyes and whispers, Maria finally spoke. "I shouldn't have called you." Carlo looked down at her. "Why?" "Because I wanted to do it by myself." He nodded. "You did," she frowned. "No, I didn't." "Yes," he said. "You stood there alone. You told the truth. Alone. You endured what should never have happened to you, and you did not surrender the truth just to make it easier for them. Calling me did not erase that. It only meant you knew when enough was enough." Maria stared ahead for a few steps. "They made me feel stupid." "They were stupid," Carlo said. The flat certainty of it startled a weak laugh out of her before she could stop it. He glanced sideways, pleased only that she had laughed at all. "A person who does not know the difference between a stage name and a family name should not be trusted with anyone's dignity," he added. That got a second laugh, smaller but real. At the gate, the agent found a seat for him without being asked twice. There was something almost comic in how quickly systems could become generous once shame reached the right level of management. They boarded early. The plane hummed softly around them, half full, half distracted, the great anonymous machinery of travel already moving again. Maria took the window. Carlo settled into the seat beside her with the heavy care of a large man who had spent a lifetime folding himself into spaces built for smaller people. He reached into his coat and brought out the watch, now wrapped in a clean handkerchief. "Here," he said. She took it gently. The crystal was still broken, the hand inside still loose. But wrapped this way, it looked less like a wound and more like something saved. "I'm sorry," he said. Maria looked up. "You didn't break it." "No," he said. "But I know what it means to lose one more thing than you were prepared to lose." She looked down again. After a while, he added, "When we land, I know someone in Naples who has hands made for old watches. If the movement still lives, he'll find it." Maria's throat tightened. "And if it doesn't?" Carlo leaned back. "Then we keep it anyway." She nodded slowly. Outside the window, baggage carts moved like toys across the tarmac. Inside the cabin, the world was finally quiet enough for Hurt to make itself known without performance. "They said my name like it didn't belong to me," Maria whispered. Carlo turned toward her fully. "Listen carefully," he said. "Bud Spencer was a name people bought tickets for. Carlo Pedisoli is the name my mother gave me, and Pedisoli is the name family carries. That name belongs to you as much as it ever belonged to me." Maria's eyes filled. She looked away quickly. Carlo pretended not to notice for a moment, giving her the dignity of a few seconds. Then he reached into the paper bag at his feet and produced 2 bread rolls and a hard-boiled egg he had grabbed on the way through the terminal. "I also brought emergency food," he said. She stared at him, halfway between laughing and crying. "Of course you did." He peeled the egg with thick, careful fingers. Pain is worse on an empty stomach. That time, she laughed for real, and the sound broke something open in both of them. Not grief, not exactly, but the locked door grief had been pressing against. She took the bread. He handed it over solemnly, as if presenting a sacred remedy. After a while, when the plane began to push back from the gate, Maria spoke again. "I hated them," she said. Carlo nodded. I know. For a second, she admitted. I wanted them to feel exactly what I felt. And then I just wanted to disappear. Carlo sat with that. He did not rush to clean it up with wisdom. Both are honest feelings, he said at last. Neither gets to decide who you become. Maria ran one thumb over the cloth-wrapped watch. How did you do that back there? Do what? Stay calm. He gave a small grunt that might have been amusement. I was not calm. She looked at him. He met her eyes. I was controlled, he said. Those are different things. Calm is what you feel. Control is what you choose. The plane turned. Light shifted across the cabin windows. He continued, quieter now. A loud man makes people afraid. A steady man makes them see themselves. Maria held that close. It sounded like something older than advice, something lived long enough to become bone-deep truth. Your father, Carlo said after a while, would have hated what happened today. Maria looked at him sharply. Carlo went on. But he would have been proud of the one thing you did not let them take. What's that? He nodded toward her chest. Your name. She did cry then. Not violently. Not like collapse. Just the silent, exhausted kind of crying that comes when the body realizes it has survived humiliation and is finally somewhere safe enough to admit it hurt. Carlo let her lean against his shoulder. He rested his cheek briefly against the top of her head and looked straight ahead while she wept. He did not comfort her with too many words. He was too wise for that. He only stayed. When the crying faded, she whispered, "Thank you for coming." He answered without hesitation, "Always." She sat up after a moment and wiped her face with the heel of her hand. "Even when I'm stubborn?" "Especially then," he said. The seatbelt sign chimed. Flight attendants moved through final checks. Maria unwrapped the watch once more and looked at the cracked face. The broken line in the crystal caught the light like a scar. "It still looks ruined," she said. Carlo glanced at it. "So do many good things after they've survived." She turned that over in her mind, and then, very carefully, wrapped the watch again. By the time the aircraft lifted into the grey-blue afternoon, the terminal was already shrinking below them into something small and far away. But Maria knew some hurts did not grow smaller just because distance had been added. They changed only when something stronger was placed beside them. A truth, a name, a hand that did not let go. Carlo took the last piece of bread from the bag and offered her half. She accepted it. The plane climbed steadily into open sky, and for the first time that day, Maria no longer felt like a girl being pushed out of a place she had every right to stand. She felt like someone carrying pain, yes, but also carrying proof. Proof that lies grow loud when authority gets lazy. Proof that cruelty usually sounds certain right up until truth walks into the room under its real name. And proof that some people do not need to raise a fist to restore what others tried to break. Sometimes all they have to do is arrive, stand still, and say the name that was theirs all along. Carlo Pedasoli. Bud Spencer. To the world. Family. To her.